Welcome to the Catherine Vandome and Me podcast.
Hashtag hosts and the HQFM quiz and bingo software are proud to sponsor the Catherine Vandome and Me podcast. With HQFM quiz and bingo software, you can use this interactive quiz software at any venue. All you need is an internet connection. Go to hashtagquiz.co.uk for your free trial today.
Hello and welcome to Catherine Vandome and Me, and today I'm joined by a very talented guest who is a community theatre actress. It gives me great pleasure to introduce this lady today, and I look forward to hearing all about her life story. Please welcome the lovely Rachel Flanagan. Hi Rachel, how are you?
Hiya, I'm good, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Just to open the podcast by saying, little Tinker, who you'll recognise, is watching as well. And I think he's just woken up. He looks like Ken Dodd. So he wants to say a quick hello to Rachel. Say hello.
Hi.
Because you performed on stage together, haven't you, Rachel?
We have, yeah. We have. Tinker's known me as long as you have.
He's very honoured to have worked with such a celebrity.
Oh, thank you.
So how are you today? And where are you at the moment, Rachel? Whereabouts are you filming?
I'm in my university accommodation. It's the last day of my tenancy, so after I film this, I'm gonna be sorting everything out and cleaning so that I don't get a charge. But I'm in Liverpool. Yeah, I'm in Liverpool because I've had a few bits of work for uni to do this week, so it was easier for me to stay here and enjoy this last week of my tenancy and see all my friends than it would have been to travel in and out. But
that's fantastic. That's fantastic. And when you say you're in Liverpool, if you can share with us just a little bit, you're a community theatre actress, and you've already worked already professionally, and you're now training. And just tell us where you are training and a little bit about what a community theatre actress is, Rachel.
Okay, yeah. So I've finished my second year now, and I'm at the Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts, or LIPA, as many people know it. The long title sounds way too professional and, well, hoity-toity for me, so I just prefer to say LIPA. And I'm doing a course called Applied Theatre and Community Drama. And so, like, what I want to go into is using theatre more as a tool to help people rather than as just entertainment. So, like, working with vulnerable groups, working in schools. I could be working with refugees and doing theatre for social change. I could be doing theatre and education. I want to be running workshops with people, set up my own little theatre school like we had at Sparkle, work with people in the disability community. It opens up loads and loads of doors for me rather than just a plain acting course would like fit me in a box and go, there you go, you're out into the world now at graduation, and you're like, oh, where's the work?
So community theatre, you've just been doing some as well, which is fantastic to hear. And where was that last week? Was it last week?
Oh, what I shared on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've started volunteering with a theatre group called Unistar Drama, who are based in Norris Green in Liverpool. And they've got two groups on a Sunday, which is the one that I go to, and then they have some on a Thursday as well. And they are a great group of kids. I'm just there as like a support staff member.
But you've been doing, just explain a little bit about the community work that you've been doing, because you have done some professionally as well. And what do you gain from doing that, Rachel? Because it sounds incredible.
Yeah. So, like, with a lot of the projects that we do at uni, we've had a primary school placement where we work in a primary school for a week, just running drama workshops with the students. So this year we were in a year 6 class, and we were working on their transition from primary school to high school, and doing drama workshops based around that. I've done a big project. My final project for the year was, it was incredibly difficult from a personal standpoint because I had a lot of health stuff going on at the same time. But that was very much like working with a community group to create a big community play, which is where people who aren't professional actors put together a play with the facilitators, and it was like very, very community led, and it also had a political message. I don't know if I'm explaining it well enough here.
You are, Rachel. No, I'm not interrupting because I'm very intrigued by it. This is an area of theatre that I don't know a great deal about, and this is your professional understanding and wealth of experience that you're getting. So as you are qualifying, we've had another actress on who actually qualified from LIPA, and it's so lovely to hear that somewhere locally offers such valuable training to students in such multi-diverse opportunities. And
absolutely.
You just tell me what you get from that. You said that there's the opportunity to work with children, which is something that you're great with, and so sort of bringing a teacher perspective to it as well. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, the relationship between a teacher and a student is similar, but very, very different to a relationship between a facilitator and someone participating in a workshop. So like if I was to go into a school and run a workshop there, I would want to have a different relationship with the students in the class than say a teacher would, because I have done teaching work and I just didn't like it. I was a teaching assistant for a couple of months in my gap years and I enjoyed it, but it just was not the job for me.
Okay, just explain a bit more. What was the limitations there that you felt perhaps were limitations that you have more freedom with in the work you're doing today?
Yeah, so like as a teacher, I found that I really wanted to help the students in my class. Like I saw them as obviously I saw them as my students, but I saw them as individual people with individual needs. Yeah. And I wanted to help, but I couldn't, because if I helped just one, I had 29 other students to help, and there was just no time to help them because we had goals to hit. So like the SATs were coming up, they had leavers due. There was just no time to help them with the pastoral needs that I wanted to help them with. So as a facilitator, whilst I'm coming in only for like an hour or two at most in a primary school or in a workshop, and I'm getting to know them, there is that a bit more of that freedom. Like we've still got goals to hit, but it feels a lot more personable because we can achieve those goals through different creative ways rather than just in a regimented, curricularized way.
You have explained that beautifully. I think, honestly, Rachel, that what a great opening to today's show. So you basically you've just explained you have your own disability circumstance. If you can just explain that a little bit more.
Yeah. If I don't laugh, I'll cry. I'm very much the type of person who has to have a laugh and a giggle at things, because it's like, good, this has happened to me. It's a little bit rubbish, but still quite funny at the end of the day.
Keep positive, yes.
Yeah. So I live with a condition called functional tic disorder, and I'm going to tick more now because I'm talking about it.
Okay, well, that's all right. Express away.
So I live with functional tic disorder, which is a condition that is very, very similar to Tourette's.
Okay.
So like most people have heard of Tourette's syndrome, but never of functional tic disorder or even just tics in general. And I wasn't born with it. These developed after a massive, massive panic attack, like the biggest panic attack I think I've ever had.
When was this, Rachel?
November 2022. So I'd just started at Lipper. And this happened on a Friday. So I went into uni on the Friday. People saw me. I was normal. I wasn't ticking. Well, like normal as I can get.
We actresses are not normal.
We are not. Yeah, they saw me on the Friday. The panic attack happened on the Saturday. I went to the walk-in on the Sunday, came in on the Monday and was ticking. And everyone was like, what is going on?
Wow.
Yeah. And they've just sort of exploded from there. So like they started out with just the neck twitches, and then they developed into the vocal ones, and then which was originally just like a squeak or a grunt. And then they developed phrases, and then I started hitting myself, and that wasn't a tick, that was just me knocking the table.
Well, that's interesting. I'll stop you there, because what you're saying is you can feel when it's an actual tick, but you can also feel when you've done it yourself accidentally, if that makes sense, as a normal response. So you're saying that you have absolutely no control over these episodes whatsoever, which is very useful for anybody that is misdiagnosing it as psychological, for example. You have absolutely no control over it. It's something that's happening to the body. Is that right, Rachel?
Yeah. So I'm not a medical expert, so I can't say whether it's more neurological or psychological. My diagnosis comes from a long history of mental health. I've been a very anxious human being and a very highly strung human being since the moment I was born, basically. But
So take us back there, Rachel, because what I do is I take people back to childhood, and this is a really interesting transition. And as you say, neither of us here are medical experts. I do have medical experts coming onto the show and who've been on the show, and it's interesting to hear both sides. I, as you know, have ME, and so there are crossovers and links with some of the symptomology there. But I am very intrigued by what you've just shared, and thank you for sharing. So go back to your childhood. So what I saw when I knew you, and we'll go forward to that in a bit, you were very excitable, like myself, love life. You still have all those attributes, but you said that as a tiny baby something happened there. So take us back to your childhood, Rachel.
Well, I can't really remember when I was a tiny baby.
Not physically.
I started experiencing anxiety issues when I was about 12 or 13, but according to my mum, I was always very highly strung. And I started developing panic attacks at 13. I don't remember what my first panic attack was like, but like I experienced panic attacks from around the age of 13, I think.
Okay.
And my anxiety is very much rooted in social situations, but it's like developed into a lot more through my teenage years. I'm very, very lucky to now have a diagnosis of generalized anxiety disorder and to now be on medication for it, which honestly just makes me a lot calmer and a lot more at ease. And it's something that the first time I started taking the medication, I was like, oh my God, so this is what it's like to be relaxed. This is what it's like to stay calm.
Wow.
Yeah. And so like, from my perspective, I will always recommend therapy first, but if you have the opportunity to go on the medication, if therapy isn't helping as much as you think it would, then I will always say like, at least give them a try.
Okay. So taking you back a little further than that, you said your mum knew something when you were born or something. What was that about?
Oh, I was just always a very highly strung individual.
Okay.
Like I guess other people always thought that like I was just a bit more dramatic than most people, but looking back now, I think it was my anxiety. I don't think there was anything wrong with me when I was born. I didn't have any signs of ticking when I was a kid. I didn't have any So like they can't diagnose me with Tourette syndrome because I didn't tick before I turned 18, and I'm also the only one in my family who ticks. So yeah, it's quite interesting.
Oh, so normally, because I don't know about this condition very much, normally you're born with it. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, so to be diagnosed with Tourette syndrome, you have to have been ticking for at least a year, have it run in your family if you're over the age of 18, or be under the age of 18. And it's normally there's normally a genetic component to it.
Okay.
As I mentioned, I am not a medical professional. I can only go off the information that I've learned through my own experiences. But a great charity to look at if you want to learn more about it is the charity that I do a lot of work with and utilize very much, Tourette's Action. I was raising money for them for my birthday last year. And like they are absolutely fantastic.
Wow. So just say that again, Rachel, and well done for raising money yourself. So that's called Tourette's Action, did you say? Yeah. And how can people find that group?
They're on all social media platforms and they have a website as well.
Okay.
So Tourette's Action, that's the UK Tourette's charity. They run weekly support groups for different kinds of people. So I go to the adult support group. They have different resources like a Tourette's passport, which is very, very useful for me as a community theatre actress who does want to work with children. It's very, very useful for me to go into a job as a professional and say, hey, just to let you know, this is everything about my condition, what you can do to help, what triggers it, what makes it worse, and what to do in an emergency situation. Obviously, I would have let them know before the fact of me actually physically going in that I have this condition, but it's just for the ease of myself and other people. And they also run some incredible looking weekend aways for people who tick. I'm going to one of them this year, which I'm very, very excited for.
Wow, where's that, Rachel?
That's at Whitemore Lakes. So I've no idea how I'm going to get there, but I've paid the 50 quid, so I'm going.
And that's fantastic. So you're going to meet people with similar health condition who you can all work together and help each other, basically, which is something that I've done with the ME community, where you meet like-minded souls who are also searching for answers, searching for support, but also able to celebrate life, which is what you do. You always celebrate life. And I'm going to take you back before this health condition occurred into your young childhood. So as you said, you were a very boisterous, energetic, enthusiastic child, and that's who I met. Because tell the audience how you and I met. So I think you were about age 10, if I'm right.
I think I was a bit younger. I think I was 8 or 9.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I left ballet around that point. But yeah, so Cathy used to be my drama teacher when I was a kid at Sparkle. And she's known me since I was a kid. I'm 22 now. So how long is it? I'm not good at maths.
You stayed, I think, right through, which was just such a joy.
Because my mum took over when your health conditions became too much.
So that's it, right at the very end. That's it. Your mum. Let's big shout out to Sarah Flanagan. A wonderful.
We love Sarah Flanagan.
We love Sarah Flanagan. She's been a huge support of mine throughout my health condition. She's always there for people. She's a rock of support, a beautiful lady, and you follow in her footsteps, Rachel. You absolutely do. And so basically, you were age 8 or 9, and just tell us a bit more about that from your perspective.
So my perspective, my mum could tell from when I was an infant, like in preschool, that I was going to be an actress or a performer of some kind. I think the story that she told me was her and my dad came to pick me up one day, and I was like leading this group of babies or young children and crawling around on the floor and going like, woo, or something like that. You'll have to ask my mum for a more accurate story. And like my parents just turned to each other and went, yeah, she's going to be an actress one day, isn't she?
And how old would you be then, Rachel?
Probably like 1 or 2. I don't know.
But so from a very baby time,
Yeah.
you were sort of already directing and doing the things that you're doing today.
So.
That's amazing. Rachel, that's amazing. And then take us forward a little bit. So you went to school. Which school did you go to, Rachel?
I went to Queen's Drive Primary School.
Queen's Drive, okay.
Yeah, and you actually know my old head teacher from that school, Miss
That's
Webster.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, rest in peace, Miss Webster.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Wonderful lady. Julie Webster sadly passed away last week, didn't she?
Yeah.
Wonderful lady. And I first met her when I was age 9. I was a munchkin in The Wizard of Oz at the Preston Playhouse, because you're obviously living in Liverpool now, but you're from Preston, aren't you? You're from, is it Fulwood that you're from, Rachel?
Yeah, Fulwood.
Yeah, so you went to Queen's Drive Primary School in Fulwood, and with Miss Webster tuition, so you already had a wonderful actress as your headmistress as well. Amazing lady. And then you graduated from there and you went to high school. Which high school did you go to?
Graduated
from primary school with flying colours, Rachel. Not everyone gets to graduate from primary school.
Those poor souls that don't get to graduate from primary school. Goodness me.
I'm picking up the primary schools as a graduation certificate, I'm sure. So
I got a leavers book and everything. I don't know where it is. I think it's locked away somewhere, but I got a leavers book. My brother got a leavers hoodie when he left there.
There you go. It's a celebration. But you were at primary school, weren't you, when we first met? So take us through that journey, Rachel.
Goodness me. So as was mentioned, I was very lucky to have a head teacher who was very passionate about the performing arts herself. I know that she was in quite a few different community theatre groups. She was incredible. Miss her. I wish I'd gone to see her before she passed, but it's okay because I never forgot her. So like we did a school show every year there, and like so from about the age of 5 or 6 I did ballet classes with my sister, and it was good at first, but then it eventually got really, really intense, and my mum was like, yeah, you're not doing 3 classes of ballet a week when you're 8, like that's just not feasible and it's too much. So she was like, hang on, in the same building there is a drama school.
I was running the Sparkle Theatre School in Fulwood, Preston, and we had different venues with different schools and classes inside. Which one did you join originally, Rachel?
I went to the one at Broadway, I think.
Oh, you started on Broadway. Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely that Broadway. Yeah, not the little community hall in Preston that is now no longer with us.
I know, it was so big they shut it down.
And they've flattened it.
They did, it was so sad. But you started on Broadway, Rachel, which was where the Broadway Hall was, ironically. But we used to always say, ladies and gents, tonight your children will be performing on Broadway. So you started at the very top, and what happened next, Rachel?
I met Cathy.
That's me, by the way.
Met you. And joined the Sparkle Theatre School, which was one of the best decisions I think my mum's made.
But you joined it, you had the passion. So your siblings weren't performers like yourself, but you had that natural flair and passion. So take us forward from there. So what did you do within the theatre school that took you forward, Rachel?
You focused on a lot of like musical theatre stuff, but you also did a lot of different theatre styles that I hadn't heard of before. So like, I think I remember my very first Sparkle project with you was Human Elastics.
Was it?
I think so. Yeah, when we were doing the ghost train with the big elastic thingies.
And that was inspired by my dear friend Matt Young, who works with, like you, community theatre, and he suggested these pieces of elastic that were literally great big thick pieces of elastic tied in a circle, and you climbed inside of them. And I was so inspired by that and working with him on a project that I thought, I'm bringing that to Sparkle. So we did, didn't we? We tried to expand into other fields. Go on.
I haven't seen anyone else use human elastic, so I honestly might pinch it for my own workshops.
Please do, because it's a great way. Well, when you get inside of it, you can stretch the body and it's expressive. It's like mime, isn't it? You don't have to speak necessarily. You tell me a bit more about that.
I mean, I can't remember most of it. But like, if you still have them, I'll take them for a workshop, you know.
Do you know what? I don't know if I have. I'll have a good look in the garage. But yeah, so inside the human elastic, like you said, you were stretching, you were expanding the body. You could then link the elastic to each other, and we also did mask work as well, didn't we? What did you do with the mask work? Can you remember?
Oh, I did The Simpsons. That's
did
just
you?
Come back to me. Yeah, so you organised this like big sketch show where you got us into groups to create different scenes with the masks. I did The Simpsons. I was Bart Simpson.
Were you?
Yeah, and I was the only one. I was the like narrator role in my group, so I didn't get to wear a mask. But yeah, we did The Simpsons, and I remember being at the Sandcastle water park and my mum going, Rachel, can you take me through your lines, please? Because Cathy's told me you keep on changing them.
Really?
Yeah.
But that was great because you were obviously able to ad lib, which is something I saw in you from a young age. You could direct from a young age. You sometimes picked up a script if somebody was off sick. You were somebody that could actually take over the show. You had an incredible memory, and you could pick up the script, and we could always trust that Rachel will step in and continue this show. Even if it's a one-man show and all three went down sick, you could take over. You have that ability, which is a great gift, Rachel. Really good talent.
You're bigging me up too much. Stop it.
But it's true. It's absolutely true. And then you also progressed through the theatre school. We did summer schools, didn't we? Easter schools.
Yeah.
And
the one when it was 2012 in the Olympics.
Did you like that one?
Yeah, I was Kate Middleton. And my best mate at the time, Show, I'm still in touch with him because he's one of my oldest friends. But he was Prince William. I was Kate.
Really?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
I've still got all of the DVDs from Sparkle. I've still got them all. I haven't watched them in ages, but I still have them all lined up. And like, I remember
we did something different every single term, didn't we? Which is why you stayed, because sometimes drama teachers can repeat material, but I was like you, I was overexcited about everything, and so I would plan next year's summer school before we'd even done this year's summer school. So I was always thinking ahead.
But like, I remember when we did Alice in Wonderland as the film, and and I played the Red Queen.
You did. And just tell us a bit more about that film, Rachel, because that's something quite different, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a really, really fun experience. Like, I've got nothing but good memories from doing that project. In fact, I've got nothing but good memories from Sparkle. What am I talking about?
Oh, Rachel, thank you. But the film, I mean, we actually went to the cinema in case anybody...
We did,
yeah. We got a red carpet, didn't we, at the front? There was a red carpet.
We did. I've still got that picture of me on the red carpet somewhere.
Oh. And we did a production of Alice in Wonderland in the proper film, the View Cinema and the Odeon. We actually did 2 different films over the years, and you were all amazing. You were absolutely fantastic. And watching, you sat there with your popcorn in one hand and your drink in the other, looking up to the big screen and seeing yourself. Yeah, it was so exciting.
That's me, like little 9-year-old me being like, oh my god.
It was brilliant fun, great fun.
I also found it really good the way that you structured the film of like having one continuous story, and different people playing the different parts, because you had the different age groups all just playing the different parts.
We did, so we
like,
had like a miniature queen, and
Yeah.
then I think you were the
And
next
then
size
me.
up, and then there
Yeah.
was a grown-up 18-year-old queen. It was, and it wouldn't have worked without you students. You were all absolutely incredible. They were 10 wonderful, glorious years of my life. And you always said as a youngster that you wanted to teach drama and run your own theatre school. So bringing it back to you today, that's something that you also have that ability. And I hope anybody watching today comes and grabs your talent, because I know that you will absolutely excel in setting up your own theatre school, Rachel, and you'll be able to pass on all of the learnings and teachings that you've attained, including human elastic. And then you'll be able to pass that fun, because hopefully, I mean, what was the essence of Sparkle? I hoped to give, you know, fun, teamwork, skills, and all of that. What do you feel was the essence yourself?
Oh, it was just a massive laugh.
Yes.
Of everything.
Yeah.
Yes, we were learning the skills of theatre, and yes, we were learning like different life skills and stuff. But I've got more memories of like how much I laughed when a certain kid called Terry would tell a joke, and then it just kept going and going and going until everyone was crying with laughter.
We would often laugh just doing the register. So
yeah, we would.
And I was called Crazy Cathy, ironically, wasn't I? Which derives from the first letter of your name, a description of who you are. So that started with the little tots when I did games, and then that developed over the years, as you'll experience very shortly. And even sometimes we were laughing so much we'd only get the register done, but we'd heard all about what you'd done over Christmas. And I think one lesson I made you all enact what you'd done over Christmas, and I think somebody's hamster had died, so they they acted out this hamster, but we were, by the end they had been crying all through Christmas, but by the end they were laughing and crying.
I think that might have been a different group, but
I think that was the little ones. Here's what happened to me.
Here's what happened to me. Poor little Timmy.
But they became the hamster,
really
Rachel. They became the hamster. So we always manage to find something to laugh about. And I think that gets you through the darkest of times in life. So as you've just exemplified, and for myself with my own health condition, whatever happens to us, I want to share on this podcast, as you're sharing as well, always look towards the light, never ever give up. And I'll give that baton to you now, Rachel. What's your advice for anybody that's going through any situation such that you've been through? You know, give your advice to the audience today.
Just remember, it doesn't define you.
Yes.
Yes, it's a part of you. And if you've got a health condition like me, sometimes there's no changing it. But it really does not define you. Like for me, I'm not just the girl who ticks. You know, I've achieved so much more, and I am so much more than just the fact that I happen to tick.
Yes.
Like I'm at drama school. I'm living independently. Excuse me. I'm living independently. I'm surrounded by some incredible friends who I know are going to go on to achieve some amazing things. I've got an amazing family around me. I do so much more than tick. I play the saxophone. I act. I crochet. I paint. You know, I'm so much more than just this one thing that happens to me because there are two wires in my brain that are touching and they shouldn't be, you know?
Yes. And I think that's so rewarding for you to share with people as well, because I think when circumstances occur, whether it's the loss of a hamster or or the loss of a loved one or a tragic condition like we've both suffered, whatever it is, if you keep looking for the light, if you keep seeing the light ahead and hoping that in time the situation may change. And as you say, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But whatever it is, it's learning to live within those limitations and then expanding your world even more so, and realizing, do you know what? This absolutely does not define me, and I'm going to, go on to do bigger and better things because of it, if that makes any sense. Would you agree with that, Rachel?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, don't get me wrong, there are days where my tics can be so debilitating. I struggle to walk and breathe. But there are also days, but once you've got through the hard bits, you do learn to live with it. Like, for me, in my experience, like, it ebbs and flows, and it depends on other stuff that's going on in my life. But like, it's not stopped me from doing anything.
No.
Like, like, I still get to work with children. So like, the swearing tics are called coprolalia, which basically means you say things that you know you shouldn't say.
Okay.
And around 10% of people who tic have that symptom. So I'm one of the 10%.
Okay, but you're also showing that you're 100%, and that means you are lively, energetic, extremely talented, having taught you myself as well. And I call it molding. I'm a teacher in that bracket, but as you said, a facilitator. I call it a molder. You're basically letting the children develop those incredible skills, which are confidence building, their life skills, friendship building. You make the most incredible friendships within these opportunities within theatre, the world of theatre, that's a celebration of this podcast. You also, it helps for auditions. It also helps like to get into LIPA that you did, and it also helps for job interviews. So you tell me, is there anything else that you think theatre, from everything you've learned, not just with myself, but professionally, going forward as an adult as well, what do you think theatre brings to the table that perhaps other subjects don't, Rachel?
I think it brings pretty much everything. It brings life skills, it can bring entertainment. And there are so many roles within theatre that even if you're not creatively inclined, you can still get involved with it. So like, I was working a careers fair up in Bradford yesterday, and one individual came up to me and was like, so like, what sort of courses do you have? And I was like, well, look, here's the list of courses that LIPA has to offer. Would you like me to take you through them? And he was like, yes, please. And I took him through the acting ones, and he was like, no, I'm not interested in that. I was like, okay, well, we've got music, which is like popular songwriting. And he was like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, okay, well, we've got the other school that LIPA has to offer, because there's 3 schools: School of Performance, School of Music, and then School of Creative Technologies. And I was like, okay, so we've got the filmmaking course, we've got the technology course, we've got the design course, we've got the sound tech course. And like, in these courses, you get to learn the more technical side of things. So on the theatre tech course, you have the opportunity to either go into stage management, or you can be a lighting electrician, a sound electrician. And he was like, oh, I'm quite interested in like doing the electrician side of things. I was like, okay, well, here's our prospectus, give it a go. You've got absolutely nothing to lose. And he's like, okay, yeah, thanks. And like,
well
there's
done.
There's so many more skills that theatre has to offer, even if you're not wanting to be the one on stage. Like, for me with my course, yes, I still love acting, and if the opportunity arises, I would absolutely love to do it, but it's no longer my main priority. And my course has started teaching me skills within stage management and within how to set up a lighting rig, how to set up a sound rig, how to set up a projector and screen. I'm an expert in a projector and screen now.
Well, you'll be able to now do your own movies, won't you, with your own
exactly.
children? Yeah.
And like, it's teaching me how to direct, and like, I've had the opportunity to write and have my own play put on in a scratch evening in Chester.
Tell us about that, Rachel, because that's something I want people to hear about. So you graduated from primary school, then you graduated from high school, and you went to Archbishop, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And then after that, all the way through that, you were coming to the Sparkle Theatre School, which was my theatre school. And we were doing lots and lots of different film and television and live theatre, musicals, big productions. Yeah. What musicals did you do with Sparkle? Can you remember?
I did 2 lots of the night at the musicals.
Oh, so, yes.
I was one of the Von Trapp children.
Wait, that's right, with those outfits that Jeanette Worsley, our costumier, made. Beautiful costumes. Oh, and there was 2 little boys. There was 2 little boys that never came running onto the stage. They were, I don't think they were backstage or something. They were little tots. So you all ran up and got into your positions ready to sing.
Yeah.
And we all went.
Just before that scene, you had us dressed as nuns with the little nun headbands.
That's it.
There are pictures of me on Facebook pulling the weirdest face with the nun headband on. I'll see if I can send you them.
Yes. So you had you were the mini nun, and then because it was the Sound of Music montage, and then you came running on as the Von Trapp family. And then what other musicals were in there? I think we had Little Shop of Horrors, wasn't it? I think.
Oh, I don't know if that was the first one or the second one, but I remember Little Shop of Horrors because in the song Somewhere That's Green, I came on as the photographer for Audrey and Seymour's wedding.
Did you? Just as they had the veil put on, and we would make it into a creative art piece, which again, these things hopefully will help you to think of ideas. And I'm more than happy. I've always said to you, I'll help you all the way through your life and your career in any way I can, Rachel. But all these things, as you said, if you went back to the DVDs, that's what I used to do. I used to watch television a lot, movies and films and different things. And I used to think, and that's inspired me to create this. And how do I want the costumes to look? And what do I want to happen on the left? Is there a big spider coming down? Or, it's the whole hybrid of theatre, isn't it? And every little bit makes it a show. So whereas the photographer comes running on and we had a camera and everything. So there's a lot to think about. And then I think the injection for the man in the dentist chair, which is Seymour, I managed to find in Poundland a massive needle, which was plastic. And we made that into a big injection for the dentist. So all of those little components, as you've just said, with community theatre, the costumes, the sound, the lighting, the projection, they all come together, and there's a job for so many people that don't even realise. But didn't you do something after Sparkle? You went to a theatre group, am I right? What happened there, Rachel? Where did you go?
So when Sparkle had to sadly shut, I joined the school drama club, but it wasn't as good as what Sparkle was, and it wasn't giving me what I wanted to get out of it. And I happened to have a friend who went to a Saturday morning drama club in Preston Town Centre, and he was like, would you like to join this drama club if you're getting bored? And I was like, sure, what have I got to lose?
Oh, good, Rachel.
So he gave me the number, and my mum gave them a ring up. And I went, and I never looked back. And that was Preston Youth Theatre, or PYT. And I've still got a lot of friends from that youth theatre as well. And I'm still very much in touch with one of the ladies who used to run that. The lovely Angela. She works at Lush now. And anytime I'm in town and I'm walking past Lush, I'm like, is Angela working? Is Angela?
Oh,
yes, she is. Nice. I'm going to go and give her a hug.
Yes. And that was what age? Would that be age? How old were you? Because I, as you know, got sick. So it was with ME 2014, I think it was. So I lost my business, but and I was in bed, and you, from that moment, what happened? So you would be how old? 14, was it?
Yes. So I was 12 when Sparkle closed, unfortunately. I was very, very sad, but it's fine. Things happen.
But now, hopefully, you're going to make your own, yeah?
Yes. And I was 14 when I joined PYT.
Brilliant. And what productions did you do there, Rachel? Can you remember?
Oh, goodness. So I did The Jungle Book, where I played Mother Wolf, and that was a really, really fun production because we did it as like a promenade show in Avonham Park, which is this, if people who are watching that aren't from Preston, it's the biggest park that we have in Preston, and it's like an old Victorian-esque park with lots of different interesting locations. So that was a pretty incredible experience, I must say.
Sorry, to interrupt you, Rachel. Tinker's sadly just banged his head on the table. Hang on.
Oh no, Tinker.
I know.
Yeah. So with the Jungle Book, we had it where the scenes would take place at different locations in Avonham Park, and the audience was having to walk around these different locations.
Wow.
We had like a monkey trial at one of the big trees, and what else? And like a snake that was made out of plant pots coming out for Shere Khan under this big bridge just by the Japanese gardens. Like, it was an incredible experience. Yeah. Anyways, sorry, Cathy.
No, not at all. Avonham Park, for anybody that doesn't know, we roll our Easter eggs down the hill at Avonham Park every Easter. It's an enormous park, as you said, with water fountains and beautiful surrounds. A great place for a piece of outdoor theatre, Rachel. That's incredible. And we roll our Easter eggs. And I have a friend, Louise Bushell from the cruise ship. And when we were in Barbados on singing and dancing on the cruise ship, I said to her, it's Easter Monday today, we roll our Easter eggs. So we got Easter eggs and we rolled them down the theatre lounge, and everybody laughed and said, what on earth are you doing? So it was a Preston tradition that only we have, isn't it?
Yeah, well, when my so like I lived with 3 other people this year, and one of them, my gorgeous friend Viera is from Bulgaria, and she came to visit me over Easter, and the first day she arrived was Easter Monday, and I was like, oh my god, we're gonna get to experience egg rolling. And she was like, great, what is that? But unfortunately Easter Monday this year was like very, very wet and drizzly and muddy, so she didn't get the full Easter Monday experience.
I think in Preston that is the full Easter Monday experience because it's very rarely sunny.
But we still got to roll our Easter eggs, and she still got to experience the little festival that goes on. Yeah,
it's brilliant. We had like a fun fair. There was people this year, I believe, literally physically rolling themselves down the mud.
Yeah, the hill was a mudslide.
Yes, it was.
Hill. There was barely grass there from the amount of people that were sliding themselves down it.
Welcome to Preston. We're very classy.
Absolutely. Not a wonder why me and you turned out like this, Cathy.
So the main thing is you then so you've got this wonderful experience at the youth theatre, and from there, Rachel, take us on your journey from there. So you're 18 now, and I think you also had some LAMDA tuition, is that correct?
Yes, I did, with the wonderful Sarah Stone. I haven't spoken to her in years, so she won't be expecting me to shout her out like that. But yeah, my mum signed me up for LAMDA exams, which was brilliant. I'm now qualified with a silver medal in LAMDA examinations.
Good. Because I used to teach LAMDA in my theatre school before I think you joined for many, many years. And then we decided that we wanted to sing and dance in Asda in the middle of shopping trolleys. And we also, were you there when we did the blind theatre, or is that before? I think that might be before you, so I'll edit that out.
I think that was before, but that sounds incredible.
Well, I was just going to say, we also, within the theatre school, we had Kevin Flanagan from the blind who came in from the blind home, and he taught the students. This is in tandem with what you're doing when it incorporates disability and diversity. So we had this wonderful opportunity with Galloway's for the Blind, where Kevin Flanagan came into the theatre school, and we would do exercises where one person would hold the hand of another blindfolded, and guide them around the space, which is another wonderful opportunity to experience what it would feel like to not be able to see, and how your other senses become very acute. And so these experiences were very, very fulfilling. And I think for you personally as well, Rachel, you'll be able to take these types of drama exercises and, you know, throw those into the community as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
All these visual aids, the masks and the puppets. We had puppets as well, didn't we? All these visual aids are fantastic for working with children in particular. They light up with the excitement of that. We also had professional magicians, stage fighters.
Oh,
So tell us
yeah!
about that. Go on, Rachel.
Oh, I forgot about the magician bit.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. So this was in one of the summer schools at Our Ladies.
the Sparkle Theatre School. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, because I ended up in the newspaper with that
You
as well.
did, Rachel, you did. So tell us about that, because they had like a magic box, and go on, tell us what.
Yeah. So I just remember the magic box. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like there was a big so yeah, Cathy had a magician brought in, and he had this big box that someone very, very tiny or quite tall would sit in. And it was a box where tubes could be pushed through, and like sticks could be pushed through it, and the person inside the box wouldn't get hurt. I'm not going to reveal how that's done, but I was nearly the person that went inside the box, and then when the secret came out, I was like, actually, yeah, I'm a little bit too claustrophobic for this. I don't like it.
Yes, me too. I didn't like being in there either. But those were the sorts of skills. We had the Garstang School of Gymnastics, didn't we?
Yeah.
We had stage fighters from London's West End. We had the Blackpool Circus School. So there was all these different visual opportunities.
We had the big feathers as well.
We had showgirl feathers from the Carol May School of Dance. And all these great visual aids are fantastic for community theatre work. And that's the reason I mention them today, because we are our vision, our hearing, all the senses are stimulated by visual aids, and more so in childhood, and certainly with disability limitations. In some disability circumstances, these visual aids and stimuli can really engage the audience. So these are the sorts of things that are so important. As you say, it's not just about the performer, the actor, it's about what else goes on behind the scenes, the costumes, the lighting, the sound, and it makes the performance magical, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And like for one of my assignments this year, I had to set up a website with like what I want to do in the future. And I was like, I could set up a theatre school where I run a class a week on stagecraft and how to set up a lighting rig, how to work the lighting rig, how to make the costumes and all that sort of stuff. So that when it comes to actually putting on the shows, I've got a whole team of students just doing what they need to do. And, you know, that would make things a lot easier on me.
That's incredible, Rachel. So you're already thinking ahead. So basically you can now bring all these different skill sets that you've had the opportunity to learn with all these brilliant, talented professionals that I was very lucky and blessed to have working with me. And you can now adapt and take on all of these different modalities, because it's such an exciting world, isn't it? The world of theatre is so exciting. So what happened after you were 18? What did you do next, Rachel, in your life that brought more skills to your skill set?
I did the PPP course at Runshaw College,
which
stands for the Professional Performance Programme, and I did the acting side of that. So they had 3 different courses. They had acting, musical theatre, and dance. But yeah, so I went down the acting route, and unfortunately, my second year of college was in that fated year of 2020.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so my college experience was cut short.
Your college work was cut short in 2020. And then what happened next, Rachel? Where did you go next? What did you do next?
So in my second year of college, I was auditioning for drama schools.
Okay.
But I only auditioned for 3, and they were 3 of the biggest drama schools, and I didn't get in, unfortunately.
Okay.
Who'd have thunk?
Well, you
So,
tried, Rachel. I just want to
yeah.
say you tried. Life, for some strange reason, takes us all on these journeys. We don't know where we're going, but if you don't try, then
Mhm.
you don't get the experience. And from what I'm hearing from you, you tried Sparkle, which was my school, and thankfully you really enjoyed that, and I certainly really enjoyed teaching you. You were a blessing. But after that, you then enjoyed the youth theatre, and you went
Yeah.
independently, because this is important. So many of us, we wait for other people to come and join us and join the dance class and this class and go to the theatre even on our own. Whereas you and I, we're very lucky that we're very confident, naturally
Yeah.
confident people. So we're able to go and do those things without thinking, well, I'm going on my own. So I want to encourage people, if you enjoy whatever it is in life, go and take a bite of the cherry, go and have a go, because
Yeah.
you'll make friends when you're there. Go on, you explain that a bit clearer to people listening.
Yeah. So, like, I've done a lot more than what I'm just saying, and I'm really not trying to big myself up or sound like I've got a big head or whatever.
I know,
But,
and
like,
that everyone's self-deprecating on this channel, Rachel. I say that every time, and that's the beauty of you. So go on.
yeah.
So what are the attributes that you feel that the theatre can bring to people?
I think it can bring confidence, in all honesty. So, like, I did quite a few musicals outside of youth theatre, and, like, in between, when, like, Sparkle, in fact, no, like, my first musical outside of Sparkle was Oliver, and that was at the Charter Theatre, which is our big theatre in Preston.
Yes.
Um, I've done A Christmas Carol. I've done the kids' version of Les Mis, and that was
Wow.
in St Anne's. So I had to travel to Blackpool every week for that. I didn't get paid for any of these, but I gained a lot of really, really valuable experience of, like, how you conduct yourself when you're backstage, how you can,
Yes.
like, what is an actual professional conduct for a child, because, like, yes, you're there to have a laugh and a giggle, but, like, when it comes down to the show, you need to be silent backstage.
Yeah. So there's, as you say, it's not just about performing, it's
No.
about learning how to conduct yourself. That was a very good statement that you've just
Yeah.
given, because our conduct is our personality, and
Absolutely, yeah.
you don't get recalled for the West End if your conduct is poor. So I hope that I could help facilitate that in my drama school as well. The
Yeah,
idea is to,
absolutely.
as you say, we're having a real good laugh, but at the same time there was the professionalism and the slickness of putting the productions on and working together. So
Yeah.
we didn't have any stars at Sparkle, you were all stars. That's what I used to say.
Yeah.
And you all got the opportunity to play the lead roles, which was how I wanted it to be, like a family. And I think that's something that you also can bring to the table in your career ahead. The idea of everybody's equal, and you have always had that ethic, Rachel, which is
Yeah,
a huge
absolutely.
quality. You always shared the stage with others, you always worked as a team, and you have the talent to direct, to act, to now put the lighting set together. all these extra talents, you just don't know what doors can open ahead when you've
Yeah,
learnt these
absolutely.
skills. So LIPA is giving you that professional training
Yeah.
that is so necessary for a hybrid of work in the theatre. I mean, I have friends who talk about now working front of house, now that they're slightly older, for example, and perhaps facilitating their children on the stage, things like that. So once you learn the backstage bit, then you've got those skills
Yeah.
moving forwards,
And
haven't you?
yeah, and, like, LIPA is teaching me further what a real professional attitude is. And, like, in all honesty, it is pretty much the same as when I was a kid. It's like, but I don't think I'm wording this very well. The way that I explain it on open days is LIPA treats you as a professional from the first day that you walk in.
Good.
You're not expected to know everything, but you're expected to remain professional and remain calm in situations. You're not expected to not let outside things affect you, but you're expected to, and you're not expected to like always leave them at the door, because we're human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But you are expected to, like, once you've had a minute and once you've done what you need to do, you're expected to just get on with it. And that's something that it's taken me a while to learn myself, because as you know, Cathy, I've always been an emotional person. But once I've let the emotions go, I do just get on with it, you know?
You do, and this is it. There's sides to you that I didn't see. You've taught me since what's been going on behind the scenes. But we all wear a mask. I talk about this in the world of theatre. We all wear a mask until eventually it melts off your face and the real character comes through. And I did the same in my life. You wear a mask and everything's great, and especially in entertainment, the show must go on. You keep going. You have these perhaps self expectations that are bigger than what the world actually wants of you. And once you start to find who you are, and I think disability can actually help that as well, or loss of some description, where you start to peel the layers back and you start to think, well, who am I? Here's this actor I'm playing, here's this performer, this big smiley, and I am a big smiley and you're a big smiley as well, but there's also layers to everybody, and we can't expect the big smiley folk to always be big smiley folk. We are allowed to express all emotions, and that's great that you've been able to facilitate that in a professional institution, if you like, that is able to allow that expression. And theatre gives you that ability as well, because every time you play a role you're expressing emotion. So we do have very big highs in theatre, and then there can be big dramatic lows, and that seems to be normal throughout the board in performance work, Rachel, anyway. But you know, as you quite rightly said, you could express yourself freely at Sparkle, which is what we wanted to happen, but also there was the professional conduct as well, and you always had your arm around somebody, helping somebody else, which is something that I remember as a teacher that you may not even be aware that you were doing. You were always helping others, and that's an enormous quality that you have, Rachel, which is lovely, just like your mother. So so these things are very important as well. In any working environment, whether you're on tour, in a musical or whatever, you have to be able to work with other people. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think being personable and approachable, and also just treating everyone with a base level of kindness. Like, I believe that we should treat everyone with a base level of respect anyways. But something that I take quite seriously is, I think that we should also treat people with a base level of kindness, because we have absolutely no idea what is going on behind closed doors. So, like, if someone is a little bit late to rehearsals, like, it's a little bit inconvenient, but we've no idea what could have happened. So just be like, it's fine, get involved. Or like, if you see someone crying, don't leave them to it. Just like say, like, are you okay? Do you need anything? No, okay. Or if you do, be like, okay, I can do that, done, no problem. Like, it's not necessarily treating people like everyone's my best friend. I just see it as like how I want to be treated. So, like, I'd say message me if you need anything, even if I didn't like the person, because I can still see that someone's upset, and I would want the same if I was in that situation.
Well, you're an enormous empath, Rachel, which is an enormous quality, and that can make us quite sensitive, which is an attribute. We're often told stop being so sensitive, but actually it's an enormous skill, because it means you have that heightened sensitivity and awareness of your surrounds and others' feelings and behaviours, and you'd make an excellent therapist as well, Rachel. So there's all these different skill sets that you will have the opportunity moving forwards in your career, which has already been very dazzling to hear. And you have achieved so much already, and overcome so much, Rachel, at such a young age. Did you say 22 now?
22.
So you're only 22, and yet you've already been through so much. So what helped you to cope with the situations that you're in today? Because I know you went away and worked in a holiday camp. So tell us a bit
I
about
did,
that.
yeah. So I decided to take 2 gap years. I went to university when I was about 20. Because of COVID, I just sort of gave up on acting at the time. And because it was COVID, the only real jobs that were going were like care home jobs. And at the time, I was on furlough from McDonald's, so I did still get to experience the whole staying at home and being a bit bored and like just twiddling your thumbs at home. So like from about March to September of 2020, I was fully experiencing lockdown, but still getting an income. Um, and then like in September when McDonald's opened again and I was still on part-time hours despite asking to go to full-time hours, I was like, right, I need a proper job. So I got a job in a care home as an activities coordinator. But because COVID was still very, very rampant, I still got to experience like what it's like in a care home where you have to wear like full PPE, full masks, everything.
How was that, Rachel?
Also,
how was that for you?
it was interesting. It opened my eyes to a lot of things. Like I've made some incredible memories from working in that care home and working as an activities coordinator. Like when an activity went right, it was the most incredible feeling.
And what sort of activities did you do, Rachel, in the care home? Because that's nice that you were actually using your talents and sharing them with others. So tell us about that.
So like we did all sorts. We did arts, we did bingo, we did play your cards right.
Oh, brilliant.
Sometimes an activity would be as simple as bringing in a speaker, playing some music and getting everyone to dance and sing and have a laugh.
Wow.
But like with the natural nature of a care home, it was also a very, very depressing place. And I was explaining this to my friend the other day. I get a real sense of pride when I think about working there, because I know that in an individual's last few years of their life, I got to give them a little bit of joy, a little bit of happiness.
You did, yes.
Even as when I left the activities role and went onto the care worker role, I made sure that they passed with as much dignity as possible. And you know, it did mess with my mental health, but like I still feel an incredible sense of pride when I think I did that at 19 with no experience of working in a care home before and very little knowledge.
In the most challenging of times in history.
Yeah.
Well done, Rachel. That says to me, that's a CV for me. That's somebody who takes on a challenge, doesn't give up, and becomes activities coordinator because you used your own personal skill set to entertain the residents.
Absolutely.
I love the elderly community. The jobs I've done have always been more fruitful in entertaining the elderly. They're very pleased and rewarded by what by working together and what opportunities that we can share. And I think that's fantastic what you've done, and also that you then got to work in the actual care facility itself, and as you say, a very difficult position, a very challenging role towards the end of somebody's life, but you did it, as you said, at only 19 years of age. So that in itself shows what an integral, kind-hearted, empathetic human being you are, which is just beautiful. So after that, Rachel, what did you do next?
Well, things weren't working out in the care home. A lot of people said you've got a brilliant sense of care, but you're a bit too caring, because I was like, when someone would pass, I would sob, or like if someone got a little bit agitated, as they do when you have dementia, I would be sobbing. So it was incredibly rewarding, but it was not the right role for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, we've done that. Now what? And my mum was like, why don't you go on an adventure and upend your life a little bit and go to Cornwall or go to a different haven site. And I was like, isn't my nan down in Cornwall? Because my dad's mum, unfortunately, lives with dementia herself, and I hadn't seen her in a few years. And so we found the haven site that was closest, and I thankfully got a job there that was a live-in role.
Wow.
And yeah, it was just as a waitress. Whenever I say to people that I've done Haven, they always think like, oh, the fun stars. No, I was a waitress.
But let me tell you, the waiting on, which all actors are waitresses waiting to be seen. I did a lot of waiting on as well. That's all part and parcel. You're still a performer to an extent. And if your passion is performance, you're also watching the other entertainers. So part of learning is watching other people. And I remember you telling me that you started to watch some of the other entertainers, and I think, did you have an audition, or did you ask if you could perhaps go onto the performance role the following year? How did that work?
The thing about a live-in job at Haven is it is an incredible experience if you've decided that you're not going to go to university and you want to go down and like experience different things, or if you're on a gap year like I was. So yeah, I was working like physically exhausting hours where there were some days I'd work up to 18 hours a day.
Really?
Yeah.
From what time, Rachel? So what time would you start?
So in fact, no, I think I did one shift like that, and we called it an AFD shift.
What does that mean?
All effing day.
Forgive my ignorance.
Sorry.
Right, okay. that isn't just one day, that's two.
Yeah.
So that's like a doctor's shift, Rachel.
Yeah, there was only one shift that I worked like that actually, and I worked from 8 in the morning till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon at the bar. And at that point in the day in the bar, they were serving breakfast and coffees, so it wasn't like I was pouring pints at 8 o'clock in the morning.
No, of course. But I bet you got confused 18 hours later as to whether it was breakfast or evening or morning.
Yep. And then from 5 o'clock in the evening till around 2 o'clock in the morning the next day,
My
I was
goodness.
working at the restaurant. And by the end of that shift, I felt physically sick.
Well, you would. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, Rachel, leading up to your condition today, I always say it never usually just suddenly starts. There's always something that prerequisites any health condition, in my own as well, because I was working crazy hours in most of the jobs that I did as well. So long hours, highly excitable. We're not lazy people at all. We're very, if somebody gives us a task, whether it's serving champagne or serving fried eggs, I was the same as you. I was very enthusiastic in all the jobs I took, and would be the first in and last out. Always worked very, very hard, like you, very timeous. And those are attributes, but also if you're not getting the proper rest that your body and brain needs to go to sleep and to heal, then again, these things can also end up in health issues. So but you enjoyed the experience, which was a good thing.
Yeah, like going off what you were saying there, like I only had one shift where I was working like an 18-hour, 19-hour day, but even on the days where I wasn't working those crazy hours, a 12-hour shift could very easily turn into a 16-hour shift, depending on the amount of people we had coming into the restaurant, or like an 8-hour shift could very easily turn into a 12-hour shift. And I would be working those shifts without a break.
Yeah.
That
was the thing. You didn't have your dinner, did you? You didn't have time. No. And I was in that situation, Rachel. So I get exactly what you're saying. Yeah. And that's why I can empathise.
And by the time I got home to my little chalet, I was too exhausted to cook.
Yes, that's it. Or you're not hungry because you're living off adrenaline. Adrenaline.
I hadn't physically had the time to go to the shop and get myself some food, so I had nothing in, or everything I had in was going moldy. It was it was a fun experience, and I don't regret doing it. But I would only ever recommend to people that they do that if they are young and on a gap year, or if they are passionate about hospitality, because it isn't for the faint of heart. And I would also recommend you do it when you've got a solid backbone and can stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
And
what would you say if somebody else, like your own child ahead, perhaps, if somebody else was listening to you, Rachel, what would your advice be? Would your advice be to say, I really need a break here, and I'm going to go and have 20 minutes to eat a sandwich or whatever, and then come back again? Did you have those opportunities, or were they not there?
If it was a quiet shift and there was barely anyone in the restaurant and I was knackered from the night before, or if I'd had a cheeky glass of wine the night before, or a cheeky bottle of wine the night before, or I'd been at my mate's and like we hadn't gone to bed till 3-4 in the morning and I'd been up at 8. If it was a quiet shift, then I'd be like, I'm just going to go and sit in the team room.
Okay, so you did have some level of control over what you had, but what you're saying is, being a workaholic, as we both are, you just kept going and driving the shifts.
Yeah.
But looking back in hindsight, because I always say to people, sometimes it's us that need to change, or very often it's ourselves that need to change. And as you say, stand up for your rights a little bit more and say, I actually need to eat something now. I've been doing this job, I'm on my feet, I'm exhausted, so I'm just going to go and have 15-20 minutes to eat something. Would you agree? What advice would you give?
I would say don't ask. I'd just say, because I learned to stop asking if I could just go and have 10 minutes in the team room, because it had been a mental shift.
Wow.
I learned to stop asking, and I just went, it's quiet, you've got 2 team members there, I'm going for a rest.
Good, Rachel. So you became a little bit more assertive in your own personal needs. And that's so important to this channel, because it is entertainment and health. And as entertainers, we always generally push beyond the boundaries. That's our jobs. We rehearse in the day, we perform at night, and we'll do the same in any job that is given to us. And we're often thinking about it at 4 o'clock in the morning, because I would get into bed at 2 a.m. and at 4 and 5 I would write my next show ready for Sparkle's year after, never mind the next term. So that workaholic mentality, because our brain needs to rest as well. And that's the bit people don't look at. They think about the heart and they think about the lungs, but they don't think about the brain. And if you're constantly working with that high work ethic, which I'm hearing you had, at some point something's going to give.
Yeah, so I only did the peak season in 2022. The first year I did it from around July till November, which is when Haven closed for the winter.
Okay.
And then in the second year I did it from June till September.
Yeah.
And in fact, no, June till literally the 31st of August. And I came home on the 1st of September. And then I had about 2-3 weeks at home before I moved to Liverpool.
Wow. So that's a lot of things to suddenly think about and do. And in between that was your audition process and hearing back. So you've got all the adrenaline there as well. So then you get yourself to Lipper and take us through that. Did you have a few weeks of classes before anything happened? Just take us through that journey. I had like 3 months of experience in it as a quote unquote normal, well, as normal as I can get, human being before the anxiety attack happened. Okay.
I had a few like anxiety attacks anyways, because as I've mentioned, I'm naturally a very anxious person, and I also hadn't given myself enough time to process Haven.
Right. Okay.
Because it's 2 big life changes I went through in about a month.
Yes.
Essentially going from, the way that I described it is going from Haven to Lipper felt like going from a war zone to a 5-star hotel.
Wow. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because I don't regret doing Haven. Like, it was an incredible experience, and I've met some of my dearest friends through doing it. But I've made it very clear that I am not going back.
No. So, and that was because you were overworked, is what you felt Is that what I'm hearing? Yeah. So you were overworked.
Absolutely.
Had it been the standard 8-hour shifts with time off to sunbathe or whatever, it might have been an easier experience all round and perhaps more enjoyable all round. But to work those long hours, I think for anybody listening, that's perhaps hopefully Haven will also listen to that and understand that you need we're human beings and we need a break. And you got your lucky break going to Lipper. So you start the classes there, you start enjoying and you start meeting your new friends in the first year. And then just take us through the anxiety situation. Just what happened, Rachel? Was it a sudden thing?
Yeah, like I said, I've always been an anxious person, and I've sort of learned how to cope with it through going to different types of talking therapy. But I started getting really bad separation anxiety from my mum.
Okay.
And it was the fact that we'd organised to go and meet up, and then for whatever reason we couldn't.
Yeah.
And I just made it back to Liverpool as she was leaving, and I was like, no.
You missed like ships in the night. You missed each other.
Yeah, and then like ironically, I was on my phone just trying to calm down, splash some water on my face because I couldn't stop crying. At the big age of 21, I couldn't stop
Doesn't
crying to
matter.
my mum.
Rachel, there'll be a lot of people who are going through what you are and have, and they will be listening to this and hanging on every word you're saying and saying, my goodness, this matches things I've been going through. So it'll be untold how many people you'll be able to support and help. It doesn't matter how old we are allowed to cry. We're told we're not. So we are allowed to express all emotions, and that's definite. So and it's very brave of you to share this as well, so thank you, Rachel. It really is. And so you had an anxiety attack and you basically were on the phone to a friend.
Yeah, so I had an anxiety attack because I dropped my phone into the sink as the water was running, and I was like, no, I don't want it to break. It's not broken because this is what I'm on the phone to you with now.
So somebody was like drowning inside the phone.
Well, no, I wasn't on the phone to anyone. I was just trying to calm myself down. Like my housemate was in the kitchen and he was like, just go splash some water on your face. It's fine. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I had a massive panic attack and I was like,
just describe the panic attack, Rachel, because that's what we want to understand. What happened? So you take us through that.
My breathing just lost control.
Okay.
And my brain goes at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Like there's no stopping it. My neck started twitching and a little bit like this.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, what's going on? And like me and my housemate had both agreed to go to a concert that was at the Philharmonic that night. And I was like, I don't know if I should, because I've just had this panic attack. I've just been crying and now I don't know what's going on with my body. And he was like, it's entirely up to you. And I was like, no, you know what? It was free tickets to see your favorite band. I'm going to pull myself together and I'm going to go. And we did go, and it was actually a really good night.
And what date was this? Because that's quite significant. What date was that, Rachel?
This was the 26th of November, 2022.
Okay. And the band, can you remember who the band was?
It was Bellowhead.
Okay. Yeah.
They are incredible. And the band was really, really fun. It was like honestly such a good night. But the twitches didn't stop. That's another thing that my tics do. They sometimes make me stutter. Yeah. And so like we got in, I went to bed and it didn't stop. And I was like, hang on, this might be a tic, because I follow a lot of disabled creators online anyways, just to like try and learn and keep myself as educated and as up to date as possible. And I was like, oh my God, what if I'm ticking? And like, it wouldn't stop in my brain. So
as you were going to sleep, it wouldn't stop either.
No.
Right.
And this was about 1 a.m. So I just messaged my mum saying like, Mum, I know it's late, but can we please call? Something's wrong.
Oh, right.
And thankfully she answered the phone, and I was like, Mum, I don't know what's going on with me. And she could see me ticking, and she was like, oh my God, you need to go to the doctors.
Yeah.
So I went to the walk-in the day after, and the walk-in basically couldn't do anything because at the time I wasn't registered to a GP in Liverpool. So they said, register it with a GP. Here's a paper bag for you to breathe into if you do get another panic attack.
Yeah.
And
you found that you couldn't breathe, basically. So the panic attack is
yeah.
a conventional panic attack where you can't breathe. Yeah.
Yeah. Woo! Yeah, so within the week I signed up to the doctors, and a lot of people have told me that I probably shouldn't have even gone into uni that week, but I was like, no, I'm at Lipper. It's
told you,
very
determined
prestigious place.
Yeah.
So I still went in, and everyone was like, are you okay? And I was like, I don't know.
Oh, Rachel.
But thankfully, a few people knew others who had developed tics later on in their life and weren't born with it. So they were like, it's fine. This is actually a lot more normal than you realise.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And then I found out it was so normal that there was a girl in 3rd year who also had that happen to her.
Yeah.
So she actually approached me and was like, are you okay? Would you like to talk about this? And I was like, yes, please, actually, because I don't know what's going on with me. And she was like, it sounds like it's anxiety tics. I get them as well. And I was like, okay. And yeah, within the week, I'd gone to the doctor and they were like, we're going to sort this out. Don't worry. And they referred me for counselling and referred me to the mental health team. And something else that Lipper has that I 100% appreciate so much is that you have an LGT assigned to you, which is a learning guidance tutor.
Okay.
And I missed the lesson that she teaches because my learning guidance tutor in 1st year was Lizzie Perry, and she was our movement teacher, and so I had to miss a movement class to go to a doctor's, or in fact no, I arrived late because I had this doctor's appointment. And at the end of the movement class, she pulled me aside and was like, what's going on? What can we do to help?
Oh.
And she set me up with a student support meeting and basically just let everyone know that this was happening and to just stay calm. And then my head of course came up to me and was like, have you been to the doctors? And I was like, yeah, I've been to the doctors. And he said, you might want to pace yourself because you'll find yourself getting a lot more tired. And that's something that has stuck with me, because the tiredness that I feel now after a really bad tic day or after a day of suppressing or even just being extra social, it is so much worse than the tiredness I felt after an 18-hour shift at Haven.
And I can empathise, having ME, which that's the bit that correlates. I can fully empathise. It's like running a battery, a flat battery, is what the ME community call it. It's like having an Apple iPhone and it's never charged enough. And you're just constantly drained in just doing the smallest of tasks. So I can truly empathise with that part of your health condition. I also had in my early stages my right arm tremors that was non-stop, and that was like a tic, and it was likened to that at the time, and I was told it will never disappear. Well, thankfully for myself, under Dr. Perrin's tutelage and treatment, that has completely gone. So there's always hope ahead, Rachel. There's always opportunities of different specialists in different fields, and you know, that's important to share with the community as well. And if anybody's watching today, I want to share with people that they can contact you. Can they contact you on socials and you can support them? Because I'm sure they can hear what a wonderful supportive, kind-hearted person that you are. So tell us where they can find you, Rachel.
So my public professional Instagram account is at Rachel Flanagan _facilitator. That's my main point of contact, because all of my other social medias I like to keep personal.
Yeah.
But that's my public account. So if anyone's experiencing like anything similar to what I went through, then contact me through that. Or like if you feel like you'd want to talk to more of a professional, then I would contact Tourette's Action and go to one of their support groups, or go through them. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. I mean, I remember waking up years ago and my right arm just suddenly went right, left, right, and knocked a cup of tea over. And that was the sort of reactions, again, neurological reactions that were happening. And so the exhaustion comes. I remember the right arm was always exhausted because it was shaking from the minute I woke up until the minute I went to sleep. So I can really empathize. I only had half of the body doing it, but you've got the whole body going.
Yeah.
And it must be absolutely exhausting for you. So anybody listening does need to understand that this isn't just a little bit of a twitch or something that's easy to cope with. It's a very difficult condition to manage, and it does need managing. But once, as you quite rightly said, 2 years on, once your acceptance is key to anything, as I've had to do, accept your limitations, but understand that those limitations may not be forever. Try one route, and if that route doesn't help, you know, if you've gone to therapy and that doesn't help, then you might want to try, as I said, Dr. Perrin, who's an osteopath. That's one other route. And then there might be a medical modal route that suits you. Whatever you feel is right for you, then it's right for you. And most importantly, what would you say was the most important support that you could recommend to people with your condition?
For me, it was having that community around me of people who understood.
Yeah.
Because I love my family. My family have been nothing but supportive, and I absolutely can't fault them at all. Like, especially my mum.
Again, big shout out to Sarah Flanagan. Brilliant lady.
Yeah.
So surround yourself with people. What you're saying is, I think, and I felt it as well, because your mum has supported me the last 10.5 years non-stop, and what a wonderful lady. And I can't praise her enough. Often when we see disability of any description, some people struggle and they step away. And that's something that I think it's important to share. They get scared, especially if it's something like we have that's misunderstood, for example, particularly. Often people step back. And what we are saying on this channel is don't step back, step forward, because we've never needed you more than we need you today.
Absolutely,
and your mum did exactly that. So you rang your mum, and she often can just turn up in Liverpool for you as well. She is 1 in a million. And I want to say to all mums out there, and dads, and anybody caring for children and adults, be there for them, because you might be scared, but actually we're scared. We're more scared. I mean, I was bedbound. I couldn't turn my head on a pillow. I was terrified. And some people run away, some people come towards you, but draw people towards you that are empaths, that understand, that are there for you through the good and the bad. Would you agree with that, Rachel?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I do realize that not everyone is privileged to have that relationship with their parents. But like, you can find connections in other ways.
Yes.
So for me, I was very, very lucky in the sense of like, LIPA is a performing arts institute. So a lot more people than I realized had tics of some kind. Like,
really?
In my first year show, there was 5 of us in the cast and crew. No, there's 11 of us in my class.
Okay.
And I think there was about 10 other people
backstage. So about 21 cast and crew of 21.
Around, give or take.
Give or take around 21.
Probably is more.
Possibly more. So around about 20 to 25 people, and 5 of those have these tics. And did they all start around the same time, or have they been born with them? Or
there was varying levels of them.
Right.
Some people had been born with them. Some of them were anxiety tics.
Yeah.
and some of them just had tics as a byproduct of other conditions that they have. So like tics and Tourette's are very closely linked to like autism, ADHD, and OCD.
Okay.
Like especially OCD, you can get one specific type of OCD that is Tourettic OCD, I think it's called, but I'm not too sure.
Okay.
And like a lot of people in the support groups that I go to that I'm friends with also experience OCD. I'm very lucky to have never experienced any of the symptoms of OCD.
Okay.
But like, yeah, actually, I think it was about 6 people because there's
there's other people with different conditions. And what I like about your course, Rachel, moving you forwards from that, is your course embodies and encourages people from lots of different backgrounds from all over the world and celebrates individualism. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, because we're all training up to be facilitators and directors and community theatre artists, we're taught to like just accept people how they are, and then like guide them through the process that we're trying to guide them through, rather than try and force it on them. And we are very much taught to celebrate differences, and like what makes us different is what makes us unique, and all that, as cheesy as it sounds.
No, that's perfect. And I think I'd like to end on that. So your celebration at LIPA, you say those beautiful lines again, Rachel, because it's been, I just want to end on that because it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today, especially knowing you in your childhood, and you've gone off and you've done all these wonderful things that you've done in other theatre companies as well. You've worked professionally, but you're now training to become a community theatre actress. You've already worked as a community theatre actress within the course of LIPA as well, and now you're hoping to jet set off, set up your own company, and you welcome, don't you? You welcome any opportunities that may come from this channel today in the acting world, in the facilitator world, and explain again what the community theatre actress celebration that LIPA is. It's a celebration of your uniqueness. Was that the word?
Yeah. What makes us different is what makes us unique and special.
I like that.
Yeah. And
I like that.
Yeah. Whilst setting up my own theatre company is the main goal that I want to achieve, I will welcome any opportunities that come my way, and I will just go with the flow, because I'm 22, I'm going to be 23 in a few months. I've got loads of time, you know.
You absolutely have. And you've been through your journey, which has got you to this level today. And you tell me, what has your journey given you, Rachel, that perhaps if everything had just gone according to plan, you know, some people have those lucky cards, but they might have something in their future that happens. So you've gone through what you have. And what would you encourage people and share with people that are watching today, as well as giving them hope for a bright future as well? What would you share that's most important to focus on?
For me, it was important to focus on the people who are important to me.
Yeah.
And to reassure them that, like, whilst what was happening to me was scary, I'm still me, and I'm not going anywhere. My body might be changing, but what makes me me isn't going anywhere.
Good.
And like the connections that I made with people through going to different support groups, and even just being in LIPA and seeing someone else tick, I'm like, whenever I see someone else tick, I'm like, have I found another? You know.
I'm like that with me. You've got that.
I'm like,
yeah.
You're making the same movements as me. My movements are setting you off. Amazing. Yes, we're friends now.
So it's a celebration of all of you, basically, from the performer to the backstage to the director to the ticks. And just share with us, to make us giggle, what you call the ticks, because that's quite funny.
I call them Bob.
Why is that, Rachel?
Because they named themselves. half the time I don't know what's going on in my own brain. I just go with the flow at this point.
And when the tics come, you say, Bob's, what do you say?
Oh, Bob's. Am I allowed to swear?
No, just use the letter.
Bob's been a bee.
Okay.
Or he's just being a bit of an idiot.
Yes, Bob's been a bit of an idiot. So
Bob's
just say that again,
up.
Rachel.
Bob's playing up. And
Bob's
being
playing
an
up.
idiot.
And so moving forwards now to celebrate, you'll be graduating next year, but over that time, if any opportunities come your way, you would be very happy to podcast with somebody else or to chat with a community of people, maybe even on the Tourette's website, you know, any opportunities like that that can come your way, you would welcome with open arms. But you are a community theatre actress at heart and a huge talent with a huge heart. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you today, Rachel, and I wish you every success ahead. And I know that whoever works with you is going to absolutely love that opportunity, as I did as your teacher. So thank you, Rachel, for today, and I wish you every success ahead. Thanks so much for sharing today, Rachel. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
For a master of deception and subterfuge, you've made yourself quite the bed to lie in. Do your time traveling through the tanning booth, so you don't let the sun catch you crying. So predictable, I know what you're thinking. My teeth are beating and my knees are weak. It's as if there's something up with the wiring. Come poke your head behind the mountain peak. Don't have to mean that you've gone into hiding. So predictable, I know what you're thinking. I'm watching your every move. I feel the tears are coming on. It won't be long. It won't be long. Straight from the cover shoot, still a trace of body paint on your legs and on your arms and on your face. And I'm keeping on my costume and calling it a writing tool. And if you're thinking of me, I'm probably thinking of you.
Glowing fireflies, cotton candy skies, watching the sunrise. This feels like a dream. Please let no one wake me. I am on cloud 9.